Hi, this is Sharon Dolin, and I'm coming to you live from Poets House. As you know, it is under construction after extensive water damage. But I just wanted to let you know that they're still here and they're going to be coming back. Poets House has meant a great deal to me over the years. I was actually at Poets House when it was in a little schoolhouse, in a public schoolhouse, before it then moved to Spring Street and had its first home before coming down here to Battery Park. And I have gone to numerous book parties, readings, talks, panels, and I've taught a variety of workshops here on revision. I even co-taught a course on Dante's Purgatory, um, courses on ekphrasis and the spiritual dimension of poetry. It's been a very important resource for all New Yorkers. The showcase has also been something that's been marvelous. Again, showcasing all of the books that have been published in that year in poetry. It's a marvelous smorgasbord, marvelous array of riches, really, of the poetry world. And so I always love coming down here and partaking of the various events, and also looking through the collection and surprising myself. So I'm here to read to you from several different books that are in the collection. The first one is a book of translations that I did recently called Late to the House of Words, Selected Poems by Gemma Gorga, which I translated from Catalan. These are her most recent poems, and they are very minimalist poems. They will go by rather quickly. I'm going to read a few of them. The first one is called Autobiography. After saying, unsay. After including, exclude. After noting, forget. After adding, subtract. After doing, undo. After loving. After what? And here's another very short poem called Illumination. And I'm recording this at around the noon hour, and this poem starts off by talking about the noon hour, the brightness of that time. Illumination. 12 noon, and the bee lights up like a pinch of sulfur, ignites like a fine filament at the heart of the solar light bulb. Does she know you usually pay for so much light with death? And because I was reading these very minimalist poems, they put me in mind of the late, great Jean Valentine, poet whose work I adored. She was also a neighbor of mine on the Upper West Side. I miss her terribly, but we do have so many of her poems that we can go back and read, and Poets House has a number of her books, and I'm going to read a few from her Door in the Mountain, New and Collected Poems from 1965 to 2003. And you'll see they're very minimalist poems. A lot of them, I think, are about the porousness between worlds, between this world and the world to come, between body and soul, between self and other, between life and death. There's this really, the dream state and the waking state. You'll hear all of those boundaries that get blurred in her work. Annunciation. I saw my soul become flesh, breaking open, the linseed oil breaking over the paper, running down, pouring, no one to catch it. My life breaking open, no one to contain it. My pelvis thinning out into God. This one is called I Heard My Left Hand. I heard my left hand love for my right hand, white through the screen door, just as through the summer elm, you, 2 years ago, in the bardo, moved into the room we once had feeling for. And finally, here is the title poem to this new and selected, Door in the Mountain. Never ran this hard through the valley, never ate so many stars. I was carrying a dead deer tied onto my neck and shoulders, deer legs hanging in front of me, heavy on my chest. People are not wanting to let me in. Door in the mountain, let me in. That's Jean Valentine, a very small sampling. You can read more of her work here when Poets House reopens. I'm going to close with 2 poems of my own, one from my last published collection, Manual for Living. And this is from the title section, which is based on translations, reinterpretations of Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher. So all of the titles come from this contemporary adaptation by Sharon Dolin. This is called Make Full Use of What Happens to You. In the face of broken, build a tower of breath. In the eye of deceit, carve a hive of light. In the rumble of regret, fashion a new net. In the oracular gut, leaven what's left. In the fall of grief, harvest winter wheat. In the infested wound, bring leeches to swoon. In the empty bed, writhe a pelvic bone. In the stung heart, harrow a new song. In Fortuna's backswing, let fallow fill wings. And finally, I'm going to close with a poem from my forthcoming book, which is called Imperfect Present. And I thought I would read, we're all thinking a lot about the right of women to have control of their own bodies, and so this poem sort of popped up for me as one that seemed to be of the moment. And it's called How Many Secrets. I don't know her name, the Chandigarh girl who was raped by her uncle. And I don't know that just because I, too, was once a 10-year-old girl in braids, that I have any right to speak of her. But who will speak for her? She who had no right to her body, or to know that what bumped up inside her was not a kidney stone. If it is true we all begin as female before testosterone washes through the womb to make some of us male, isn't she close to being the mother of us all? At 6 months pregnant, denied an abortion by the Indian court, denied to her parents, that is, who have not told the girl she was pregnant, who now has had the baby cut from her as she lay in numbed sleep, the baby girl unseen by her or by her parents. Why did she finally tell them about her uncle, her stomach pains a month earlier? What did she make of the heaviness of her breasts? Now I see her stitched up belly healing. How she'll have to go on when her whole life things have been done to her, for her. Now I can see her married off at 15, the stomach pains returning, when the anesthesia of not knowing wears off. Let her mouth unstitch itself, even if it means knowing she has survived one cycle of suffering, only to be born into another. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope to see you all here at Poets House at some point in the future.